Hi, guys. Here we are at the end of week 4, and we have now begun week 5. Just a reminder that week 5 will ask you to summarize what you have learned from weeks 2 until 4. And again, the same grading rubric applies as you give you a summary based on what you have learned. Now, what is this grading rubric? I want us to take another look at the grading scheme and expectations for this class. So, to start off, there is a weekly discussion, and in this weekly discussion, you're expected to respond to the original question as well as to that of a peer. Now, I have used um, an example of something that a peer submitted for one of the discussions. And I want you to take a note as to some of the main inclusions that he had in his submission. So, one of the things that Winston did was he restated each of the original question. As he restates each of the original question, he includes citations in the materials that he has posted. Make a careful note here that what adds dimension to your work is things such as your personal thoughts on what the textbook says. So let us know what the textbook says, and then what are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Remember, not everything in black and white is something that we can agree with. So let us know if you agree or if you disagree, and why you agree or disagree with what you have read in the textbook. Now, note this is after you have shared what is in the textbook. Another thing is you want to embellish. You don't want to give us just bare bones. You want to embellish. What does embellishment does? And embellishment simply means explaining, restating in your own words. What does this do? This gives the reader the thought that you have understood what you have read. So that means you're not taking up the textbook, opening up the textbook, and just reading without understanding. By demonstrating that you have understood, it also means that learning has taken place, right? Um, in addition, you want to give examples. So if you're stuck trying to come up with the required number of sentences, just share examples. Every single thing that we will do in this class, that we will learn in this class, are things that you've had experiences with in one shape or form. So after you have shared what the textbook says, then just lend your voice in the context of an example to support or refute what the textbook has said. Now, very important is the grading rubric. Many of you are posting material in the discussions without consulting the grading rubric at all. How do I know this? Because your post has absolutely, for some, that is, absolutely little reflection that you have read the grading rubric. I want you, before you hit that click button to post, to just take a look at the grading rubric. Look at what you have written and what you're about to post and check it against the grading rubric. As you check your material against the grading rubric, you will notice that the grading rubric has three sections, four sections actually. It has no work submitted, it has novice as a category of grading, it has competent, and it has proficient. Many of you are, in fact, getting the proficiency. Sorry, many of you are in fact getting the competency, but you're not getting the proficiency. And the question you want to ask yourself is, why am I not getting the proficiency? And in answer to that question, take the work that you have submitted, go to the grading rubric, and look at the proficient column. I will not read the proficient column here because you have it, it's on Blackboard for you to review. So go to the proficient column and measure your work on the proficient column. Now, I've done this before, but I want to take the time here in week 4, at the end of week 4, the beginning of week 5, to go over the grading rubric as it shows up in Blackboard. So at the end of the week, I go into Blackboard and I'm ready to grade. What do I use to grade? Here in front of me is the map that I use to grade. So using this map, you see how the grading rubric comes right into play for the map. You're graded on your response to the original question. Look at what it takes for you to get the proficient score. You're graded for spelling and grammar. Again, look at what it takes for you to get the proficient score. Similarly, with using sources or citations, look at what it takes. And in a moment, I'll touch on citations a little bit more. And you also have to respond to a peer. Again, look at what it takes to get the proficient rating. All right? Now, as you um, uh, prepare your post, you may be thinking, well, how do I make sure that my grammar and my spelling is correct? And here we go. Spelling and grammar. Um, what I do is, you will see there's a Word document to my right, and I go into Word and I copy the material that you have posted and I post it directly into a Word document. And the Word document tells me how much of your work has spelling, or which of your work has grammatical errors. It tells me the spelling errors. So I suggest very strongly that you start your discussion post in a Word document and click on the editor button. And the editor button is this little squiggly thing right here. Click on that, and it will give you the exact same information that I get when I grade your work. So again, I cut and paste the material that you have posted in Blackboard. I put it in a Word document, and Word does the work for me. It gives me the spelling, it gives me the grammar, it gives me the sentence count. Now, if you look here, it will ask you for document stats. You click on document stats, and this box comes up, and this box tells you how many words you have and how many sentences you have. So you go back to the grading rubric and you look at the grading rubric to see what are the sentence requirements and to see if you have met the sentence requirements. Now, sources. Guys, for some of you, you will post something and there's no source. And I know you got the material from somewhere. You know you got the material from somewhere. And whether you inadvertently forget to post it or whether you deliberately forget to show your citation, the reality is, in the absence of citation, if you've gotten that material from someplace else, it's indicative that you've gotten the material from someplace else. And when that happens, there's a word for that. All right? Now, having said that, I notice that a few of you have, for your citation, indicated ebook, and you indicate a page on the ebook. And when I come back at you and I said, this doesn't correlate You said, oh, but it's not from the textbook, it's from the ebook. I want to point something out to you. I am in I am in possession of both the hard copy of the text and the ebook. Now, for argument's sake, I just pulled up a page on the textbook and I looked for the topic on the ebook. I found the topic in the ebook. Guess what? The page numbers are the same. The ebook to my right and the hard copy of the textbook to my left. The page numbers are the same. So if you're going to say you got this material from page 500 in the ebook and in the textbook it's page 100, ask yourself the question, is that a verifiable source? And the response is no, it is not a verifiable source. Your source has to be verifiable to the point where I can pull up the ebook and I can find that page right in the ebook where you said you got your material from. Finally, guys, please do not forget, I should not have to remind you, one, because there is a course outline, and two, because there are videos that I've posted before that tell you we have a weekly quiz. So, in the event that you have not been doing the weekly quizzes or you've missed one, please, it is not my responsibility to remind you of this because you have the course outline. All right. On that note, I want to end with a reminder that for week 5, you're summarizing everything that you have learned, or not necessarily everything that you've learned, but something that speaks out to you, something that jumps out at you. And you're telling us about it. And as you tell us about it, you're telling us what you have learned, where you got the information from, how does this relate to you, including examples. And we're talking real life examples. And it could be an example that involves you or involves someone you know. But support what you have shared with examples. On that note, lest I forget, very encouraging. I noticed that the posts have been picking up, and I noticed that the posts have been getting more substantive, and that more and more of you are, in fact, posting citations. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye.